first of all, would you like for me to tell you about why I bought that shark shield?
Yes, please. Okay. We're all very interested, so please educate us.
Okay, so I bought a shark shield because I was going to be a part of the first all-women, all-female relay to the Farallon Islands from the Golden Gate Bridge. I was asked to be on the team, and I was very excited. I bought a plane ticket right away from Tennessee to San Francisco to be on the relay. And then after I was on the team, I had my ticket ready. I had a single request that if I was the swimmer that was going to be at the finishing leg of the islands, so the last swimmer on the finishing leg at the islands, that I would like to wear a shark shield if I was that person. I wouldn't really require wearing it, on the first leg or second leg or anything like that. I just felt like if I was near the Farallon Islands, which is known to have one of the greatest concentrations of great white sharks in the world, it's probably a good idea to wear a shark shield. Even though this swim occurred during the safe 6 weeks of the year when it's considered somewhat safe to swim to the islands because the sharks are not supposed to be there.
Got it.
But the team decided that they didn't want me to wear this safety device, and so I decided that not to participate. And so they gave me 2 reasons for not being allowed to use the shark shield. They said, first of all, the swim to the Farallons is in a marine sanctuary, and secondly, they didn't want to do anything different than the men's relay team had done that swam 1 week before. So I think one of the swimmers told me that she considered the shark shield as being a swim aid, and in her opinion made the swim appear tainted or wimpy compared to what the guys did. So it was almost like, you got props for swimming to the Farallons without using the shark shield or a shark repellent, a safety device. So, this at first I was just like kind of shocked, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Majority rules. You guys voted not to use it. I won't be on the relay. I understand it's a marine sanctuary. But then I started to really think about it and wanted to investigate why they wouldn't want me to use the shark shield. And now I'm really confused, and I don't think that it should be outlawed by any group because it's a safety device which has been proven to save lives, and it doesn't harm sharks.
Karah Nazor Friberg has swum in places as varied as San Francisco Bay, Tennessee River, and Dover. As an English Channel swimmer and South End Rowing Club member, she also founded Swim the Suck and Cows, Chattanooga Open Water Swimmers. Her passion for the sport led her to spend time giving back to the sport and acclimatizing to the cold water. She also has studied different bodies of water and the existing marine life as a well-published biology professor and environmental scientist. She has swum with all kinds of marine life, some as large as 20 feet. But she has also purchased a shark shield to protect herself against the possibility of a shark attack. Karah explains many aspects of the shark shield and her perspective of the new proposed wildlife protection policies that the global open water swimming community is currently considering.
Hello everyone, we're here at Open Water Wednesday with Karah Nazor Friberg. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. You're doing great things over in Tennessee from what I hear.
I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I have been here for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. I got married to someone from my hometown, Ben Friberg, and I moved back to my hometown from San Francisco. Something I thought I would never do. I was in San Francisco for 5 years. I went there to do my postdoc at UCSF.
What did you get your postdoctorate
in? My graduate degree is in prion biology and prion research, and so I went to UCSF to study with the Nobel laureate Stanley Krusner, who is the one that coined the term prion and is kind of a leader of the field.
Got it. For a lay person like me, I have no idea what that means. Can you explain it to me?
Okay. A prion is it's an infectious protein that causes neurological diseases. There's a broad class of neurological diseases it causes. You might have heard of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease or new variant CJD, which is the human version of mad cow disease.
Okay.
So it's mad cow disease basically in all of its various forms and ways it affects humans, whether it's from acquired from eating a contaminated hamburger or acquired from contaminated medical surgical equipment, or perhaps you have inherited mutation that gives you the disease as well.
Got it. So basically you're doing a lot of very good research and you're really intelligent. So
No, thank you.
Yeah. But anyway,
actually, I'm not doing prion biology anymore.
Uh-huh.
I'm working at a nanofiber company here in Chattanooga doing some research to study the effectiveness of nanofiber tissue scaffolds for growing cells, like muscle cells or bone cells, nerve cells. Yeah, so still in biology, but a little bit different.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, we wanted to shift gears a little bit on Open Water Wednesday, and we're pondering, or I should say the global open water swimming community is pondering different types of wildlife protection policies. And before we get into this topic, can you explain to us your role in the open water swimming community and your own swimming background?
Sure. So I swim my whole life competitively, and I went to college. First I went to University of Miami for a year in Florida, and then I transferred up to JMU. So I did 4 years of the Division I college swimming. And then after that, like most swimmers, I took a really long break. I was kind of burned out of pool swimming. And then when I moved to San Francisco, I got back into swimming because of a race that I heard about around Alcatraz by World Water Swim, Pedro Ordenes' group, and I wanted to do that race. I thought it seemed really awesome, a new, different way to use this strange skill of swimming, and did that race, and ever since then I was hooked. Ended up joining the South End Rowing Club and met a bunch of swimmers who were training for the English Channel or who had already successfully swum the English Channel, and started training with a few of those guys. The next summer, I believe, I swam the width of Tahoe in about 4 hours, and I thought that's a pretty good indication that I thought I could do the English Channel, so I started training for it, and it was really a great place to be at the South End because it's a really supportive environment, tons of friends who volunteer to help you with your training. So I did a bunch of really cool swims in the bay during my year of training for the English Channel. Probably the best one I did was 21-mile swim from China Camp up in the San Rafael Bay underneath the Richardson Bridge next to San Quentin through the Raccoon Straits to the Golden Gate Bridge, and then in front of Alcatraz to the Bay Bridge.
Wow.
So that swim was just as fun as the English Channel, really.
Yeah. What was the water temperature?
I believe it was, I can't remember for sure, maybe 55 that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And was it a typical San Francisco overcast rainy day, or is it a beautiful day? Oh.
It was actually pretty stormy.
Uh-huh.
When we got to the Golden Gate Bridge, it was really, really cloudy, and we were afraid it was going to start storming. Gary Emick had planned that swim for me, and so the tides changed just as he predicted I would be arriving there.
Wow.
So that when I got to the Golden Gate Bridge, it switched from an ebb to a flood, and then I rode that into the Bay Bridge. It was a really, really fun swim.
Yeah. And so your English Channel, can you give us a little bit of a report on that?
Sure. Yeah. So I went in the summer of 2008. Been almost 3 years now, and my family came, my parents and aunt and uncle, and we're on the boat. And, it took me 12 hours and 28 minutes to cross it. I had a perfect day, really. It was sunny. I started at 7:30 a.m. I finished at 8 p.m., so I swam all during the day. It was pretty uneventful, except for at 3 hours when I puked up everything I had eaten so far. And then the rest of the swim, from 6 hours on, I pretty much can't remember anything. I was completely zen.
Oh.
So.
In a good way, I assume?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. And then, so you came back after the English Channel, and it sounds like you had this bug, this massive open water swimming bug. And have you done anything locally?
When you said bug, I was...
No, not your kind of bug, the good kind of passionate bug.
Right. Well, when you said bug, I was thinking I did have a bug. I had a horrendous staph infection.
Ooh.
But yeah, you don't mean that bug.
No.
You mean this one, open water swimming bug. Yeah. So I continued swimming at the club. I did a fun swim down in Santa Barbara, a 6 mile ocean swim, which was fun. And then when I moved home to Chattanooga, I still had to find a way to stay in the water, and even though I really missed the San Francisco Bay and the ocean and salt water and all the fun swims we had there, I had to do something. So I recruited some old high school swimmer friends of mine, and we started meeting up on Wednesdays before my husband's jazz gig to swim. And we kept doing that, and it kept growing, and within a month we had about 30 people coming to swim with us every Wednesday night. Yeah, so we definitely had a group, and we named ourselves the Cows, the Chattanooga Open Water Swimmers.
Okay.
And we put on two big events last year. One was the River Rocks 1 mile snail darter sprint, and that was downtown Chattanooga. We had about 35 people come out for that, and then 1 week later we had the first annual Swim the Suck 10-mile swim in the Tennessee River Gorge.
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting and unique name for an open water swim. How'd you come up with that?
It is. So, suck comes from, not that it's a sucky swim, but that we're swimming through an area of the Tennessee River Gorge known as Suck Creek. There's a creek named Suck Creek that flows into the river there that was 100 years ago created a huge suction there where it spilled into the river and was known to tip over boats that were coming down through there. But I think in the 40s a dam was built upstream of it, which took away the whitewater section, and now we have a smooth, flat water river.
Got it.
So the suck is no longer there, but the name is.
Got it. So anyway, you're in this community. You've done the English Channel. You were embedded in the San Francisco Bay community. You started up a new community in your part of the world in Tennessee. And are there any commonalities between Dover and Chattanooga and San Francisco? I mean, these seems like three totally different places, but you've connected them all through open water swimming. Is there any connection between these three?
Not really.
Uh-huh.
I think that wherever you go, you find swimmers. Tennessee and Chattanooga, my city, has a very strong competitive swimming community with competitive summer leagues. A lot of families are very active in swim team here from early age, and we have high schools that have very serious swim teams. So it was easy for me to find swimmers here who wanted to get back in the water, and then also with how popular triathlons are becoming, there's a lot of people who want to work on the swimming portion of their try, and when they heard about us, wanted to come out and be able to swim in the river in a safe environment. You know, we bring pilots out every single time, so I guess we're in all those places. I found people who were passionate about swimming, and people who are into open water are kind of a little bit different of a character than traditional pool swimmers.
Yeah.
We're a little bit crazier.
Yeah.
Find swimming with catfish the size of Volkswagen bugs, and
no way.
Yes, that's what
really
we have in our river. It's kind of creepy.
Wow.
Don't mind swimming in dirty water and cold water and all of that. So just a little bit crazy. It's easy to make friends with other open water swimmers.
Yeah. Well, if you have catfish the size of Volkswagens, then sharks, which traditionally have been the most scary marine life for open water swimmers, shouldn't be that big a deal, right?
Quite a bit different, I think. It is scary. They have a few examples of them in the Tennessee Aquarium here, and yeah, you could definitely fit in their mouth, but they're bottom feeders.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't come up to the top. We do have alligator gars though that can grow quite big, and they have snouts that look kind of like an alligator. Okay. But again, I don't think there's any case of where they've ever attacked a human.
Yeah.
We do see them jumping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The smaller ones jumping.
Yeah. Well, talking about gars and catfish and sharks, you have wanted to swim in areas where there are known sharks, and one of the most renowned areas for sharks, specifically great white sharks, is a red triangle right outside of where you did your practice swim, west of the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, you and other swimmers, most recently Penny Palfrey, like to use a product we call the Shark Shield. Before we get into what the Shark Shield can be used for, can you explain it to those in our audience who are not familiar with the Shark Shield and what it looks like? And
Sure. So I just recently purchased one of these for a swim in the Red Triangle. I can tell you about that if you want me to.
Yes.
But first, the device is it consists of an antenna, a long antenna. I'm not sure how many meters long it is, maybe 6 feet long or something, a little bit taller than I am. And this antenna plugs into the main unit, which has 2 electrodes. And then surrounding the main unit is a patch for wrapping it around either your leg if you're a scuba diver, or you can put this device suspended from a kayak so that it's immersed in the water and kind of trailed along behind the kayaker.
Got it.
So this antenna emits an electrical charge, and that creates an electric field around the antenna. And the charge doesn't cause a shock to humans or anything, but it does cause discomfort to sharks who happen to swim up within the range of that shield, which is about it emits an electrical signal that reaches about 12 to 15 feet away from the device. So it's really not too, it doesn't emit too far away. And so when the sharks swim into that range, it causes that discomfort, and I've read it as being described as like loudspeakers, that really hurt our ears. So like sometimes when you're in a car and the radio comes on real loud, your instinct is just to press that button and turn it off as quickly as you can to hurt your ears. And I think that's what happens to the sharks. They swim into that range, and it hurts, and they quickly swim away as fast as they can to get out of the range of the Shark Shield.
Got it. Now, the Shark Shield, some people have said it's not appropriate for various reasons. Now, those reasons could include everything from it can be defined as a swimming aid, especially if you compare yourself to swimmers who don't use a Shark Shield. And some of the other reasons for not wanting it to be used, it can be considered harmful to the sharks themselves. What is your response to those opinions?
Okay. I think that the opinions are made by people who have either limited information or misleading information or maybe perhaps no information about the shark shields. Because, first of all, the shark shields have a very important statistic that nobody wearing a shark shield has ever been attacked by a shark.
Got it.
And so there's a lot of accusations that people have been killed by sharks or attacked by sharks because they're wearing them. So that is just completely inaccurate, fraudulent information. So the shield was invented by the South African government, where they've done a lot of research studies on it, and it's currently employed by the U.S. Coast Guard, the Australian military, the South African Navy, scuba divers, military scuba divers in France and Japan and Hong Kong, as well as Brazilian surf lifeguards. And it's also a NATO-approved device. So all of those militaries, including the U.S. Coast Guard, wear a shark shield every single time they go in the ocean.
Okay.
Why? Because it protects them from shark attacks. So when it comes to people describing the shark shield as a swim aid, I really do not believe it is at all. Because when I think of swim aids, I think of wetsuits or fins or thermal caps, something that provides assistance to the swimmer in terms of their swim speed or their warmth or their buoyancy. And so the shark shield is not even worn by the swimmer. It's worn by the kayaker or the boat escorting the swimmer.
Got it.
So again, it's a device that deters sharks and does not attract sharks.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have researched some of these accusations, the current accusations or that have been made against the shark shield, and there's about 5 main accusations or information that people, including open water swimmers, quote as evidence that using these are not a good idea.
Okay,
So,
can you explain those?
Yes, I can. Okay. So, first of all, would you like for me to tell you about why I bought that shark shield?
Yes, please.
Okay.
We're all very interested, so please educate us.
Okay, so I bought a shark shield because I was going to be a part of the first all-women, all-female relay to the Farallon Islands from the Golden Gate Bridge. I was asked to be on the team, and I was very excited. I bought a plane ticket right away from Tennessee to San Francisco to be on the relay. And then after I was on the team, I had my ticket ready. I had a single request that if I was the swimmer that was going to be at the finishing leg of the islands, so the last swimmer on the finishing leg at the islands, that I would like to wear a shark shield if I was that person. I wouldn't really require wearing it, on the first leg or second leg or anything like that. I just felt like if I was near the Farallon Islands, which is known to have one of the greatest concentrations of great white sharks in the world, it's probably a good idea to wear a shark shield. Even though this swim occurred during the safe 6 weeks of the year when it's considered somewhat safe to swim to the islands because the sharks are not supposed to be there.
Got it.
But the team decided that they didn't want me to wear this safety device, and so I decided that not to participate. And so they gave me 2 reasons for not being allowed to use the shark shield. They said, first of all, the swim to the Farallones is in a marine sanctuary, and secondly, they didn't want to do anything different than the men's relay team had done that swam 1 week before. So I think one of the swimmers told me that she considered the shark shield as being a swim aid and her opinion made the swim appear tainted or wimpy compared to what the guys did. So it was almost like, you got props for swimming to the Farallones without using the shark shield or a shark repellent, a safety device. So, this at first I was just like kind of shocked, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Majority rules. You guys voted not to use it. I won't be on the relay. I understand it's a marine sanctuary. But then I started to, to really think about it and wanted to investigate why they wouldn't want me to use the shark shield. And now I'm really confused, and I don't think that it should be outlawed by any group, because it's a safety device which has been proven to save lives, and it doesn't harm sharks.
Okay, so basically the counter is it's a swim aid is just plain and simple. It's a safety device.
Right.
Okay.
It's maybe they would consider it a psychological swim aid, because if sharks swim up into that range of the shark shield, they turn away and want to remain outside of it. They either swim far away or stay, a safe distance from you. But I don't see how that's would be considered cheating. It's actually, protecting the swimmer and protecting the sharks. I wondered if I wasn't wearing the shark shield and the shark decided to test out, is this my prey or is it not, and attack a swimmer, then wouldn't the people who make these accusations realize, like, once a shark attacks a swimmer, there are repercussions for the shark. People get very upset after shark attacks. Uneducated people may inspire them to go and try to find that shark and kill that shark. So I believe that this shark shield is a device that protects humans and protects sharks by preventing shark attacks, so that the crew doesn't feel the need to try to get the shark out of the way or hurt the shark in any way to save the person. Although I believe if that's necessary, then it's completely legitimate to hurt or harm a shark that's attacking a human.
Yeah. Well, let's shift away from the shark shield to just a general discussion on the possibility of different swimming organizations establishing a wildlife protection policy, however that is defined. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on what might be necessary, desirable for the global open water swimming community to enact in any kind of wildlife protection policy?
I definitely think it's something that we need to be considering in this day and age when swimmers are venturing into more dangerous waters, like in the Farallon Islands, or the Big River Man swam the length of the Amazon, where he encountered lots of alligators. It's definitely I think it's going to be relevant, though, to each swimming environment. I can't imagine, a policy being adopted for swimming, around the Farallon Islands that would make sense for swimming around Alcatraz, because the risks are much greater, in some swims than other swims. I believe that it should be a policy that people will employ safety devices that are known to protect humans and protect sharks. That just makes sense. And it also, if less people are getting attacked by sharks, then our sport is going to be considered safer by outsiders. So if we do want to continue swimming to the Farallon Islands, we don't want there to be shark attacks on people and people killed, because then it might be considered unsafe, and then they may not allow us, the U.S. Coast Guard may not allow us to swim there anymore. So it's important to use, any technology that we have available to us to ensure that we can continue to do these cool swims that we want to do.
In a general discussion on a wildlife protection policy, I mean, are we only talking about sharks, or, as a global open water swimming community, should we do something, make a statement, or, just support the existing marine life protection groups, whether that's, Save the Whales or, some kind of depleting fish stock, turtles, even coral? What are some of your thoughts there? Whether it's the ocean, lakes, or rivers.
I think that we definitely need to respect, being in marine sanctuaries, or here in Tennessee we swim next to bird sanctuaries quite often, or wildlife refuges. We definitely need to respect being allowed to access those areas, and to not contaminate them in any way, leave no trace, essentially.
Got it.
But does that answer?
Yeah. No. What I'm trying to do is, we are considering all kinds of different issues and opinions and recommendations for a wildlife protection policy. So everybody's input is valued, and it's very interesting hearing from one side to other. So we just like people to understand what are the issues out there, what are the recommendations, and let's all come together to make a reasonable set of policies. Now, it's very interesting because you've swum in 3 completely different areas: the San Francisco Bay, the Tennessee River, and the English Channel. So it was very interesting today to hear your opinions because you have basically spanned the globe. So,
right.
Was there anything else you'd like to add? But it's been a real pleasure speaking with you.
Well, I didn't really get into those all of the misleading information or allegations against Shark Shield, and why people think that they're ineffective. So the first misconception is that the electrical impulse emitted by the Shark Shield attracts sharks. Okay, this is not true. So when sharks are far away, they rely on their sense of smell, like detecting blood in the water first, and then they rely on sound. So they would likely be able to hear us swimming and splashing on the surface of the water first, before they can even see us. Then they rely on sight, and then at very close distances, with only 1 meter, a few meters, they detect these electrical impulses, which are emitted by muscle spasms in fish, their prey. So before a shark gets anywhere near the field of the Shark Shield's signal, it can probably smell and hear us, first, and actually think that we are prey. And then it may, swim closer to us to investigate. And then once it hits the Shark Shield's electrical impulses, hopefully that'll stop it and cause pain in those receptors. They're called ampulla of Lorenzini receptors in the snouts that detect the electrical signals, and then make it swim away and hopefully stay away. Okay, so Shark Shields don't attract sharks, they deter sharks. The second misconception is that, often quoted, that there's a surf model of the Shark Shield that is ineffective. And this comes from a study that the Shark Shield researchers did where they were testing a surf model where it was actually placed on a raft and it was baited. That's something else that I learned is the signal emitted from the Shark Shield fails so miserably to attract sharks that during the research they have to heavily bait the water to draw sharks in. Okay, so they baited this surf product, which was on a float, and a shark did come and apparently bit the bait. Okay, so it came into the field, bit the bait. people, so real rapidly on the internet, there were all sorts of crazy stories that shark shield device fails and is eaten by shark. Okay, a lot of swimmers are quoting these stories. But when you investigate a little bit further, scratch beneath the surface a little bit, you find that the electrodes on the device were not submerged in the water. And those electrodes need to be submerged for the electrical field to be generated. And so this was just a testing scenario. So they actually anticipated, that a shark may not be able to detect the field since it was out of the water, right? Okay, so, and they will clearly state that on the label. So the Shark Shield surf device is not supposed to be effective when the surfer, or may not be effective when the surfer is actually standing on a surfboard and riding a wave, because the electrodes, which the surf Shark Shield is mounted on top of the surfboard, they won't be underwater when a person is standing up, right? But when they're sitting on the board, the base of the board is underwater, and so then they're protected.
Got it.
Yeah, so that was one accusation that people had been telling me about. Another one was even more bogus. They say, Karah, don't you realize that shark shields, there's a case against shark shields because somebody was wearing one and was actually attacked by a shark and killed. And so I tried really hard to look on the internet for cases against shark shield or shark shield failure, and I couldn't find anything. But what I did find is this newspaper article that was in I think it was in the Australian Times or something, where there's a case of a scuba diver named Jared Stevens who was killed by a great white shark while diving in South Australia 6 years ago, 2005.
Got it.
Okay? He was not wearing a shark shield. There was a shark shield on the boat that was not turned on. And so somehow this led to a legal case against Shark Shield. And as you can tell, he wasn't wearing it, so it was completely unrelated to Shark Shield. Still, stories got published on the internet that said, now had scuba diver death, Shark Shield device failed. Sharks actually eat the Shark Shield. So the lawyer who was representing this university scuba diver heard about that testing, the surf unit testing, where the electrodes were not immersed in that test situation and a shark came in and took the bait. So he heard about that and then decided, oh, they had shark shields on the boat. I think this is a reason, to try to sue Shark Shield for their device malfunctioning.
Got it.
So it's just really, fraudulent.
Yeah.
So the university who employed that scuba diver actually sent people to the Shark Shield company to speak with them and say that their university has adopted a policy where everyone is to use Shark Shields. Okay? And that was apparently who was suing them. So it's just completely fraudulent all around. And I think that was it. That's pretty much it. But those are the cases that people will cite.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much. I'd like to thank you again, and we'll see you, somewhere on shore.
Somewhere on shore or in the river.
Yeah, or in the river.
Yes, in Chattanooga.
Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.